BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. So welcome to this episode. Today I'm with Johnny He, and welcome to this podcast.
Thank you.
So, as you know, I would like to know a bit of yourself. So let us understand better who you are, what you do, not only as a photographer. What is your life?
Okay, so I'm Johnny E. I'm from Taipei, Taiwan. I'm born here, but I spent a lot of my childhood and going to school in Canada. So that's why I speak both English and Mandarin. And also is kind of a third culture kid because I've experienced two cultures, but I don't necessarily identify with either one because I've always kind of feel alienated. I don't know if any other third culture kid feels the same, but that's how I feel. But that's also a good thing because I like street photography a lot, and that helps me in a way because I can sort of see the city and the culture from a alien perspective. So I maybe I see some things that people just forget to see or ignore, or it's just maybe life's too fast. They miss some little things, but I'm able to pick it up because I'm able to kind of see it from a third culture point of view for both Canada and Taiwan. And I started photography about when I was 17, 18 from high school. So I learned from film because it was quite a while ago. And I didn't really know the types of photography there were when I started, like, portrait photography, landscape, street. But it just felt natural for me to just walk out to the streets and just take photos of what I feel that's interesting or things that I find worthy of recording. So I kind of just started my street photography journey without knowing that's called street photography. And I did film for a little bit, but then the digital camera started to get more popular around 2004, 2007. So I shot a little bit of digital after 2007, but I got back to film about 2017. So that's 5 years ago. So I got back to film 5 years ago. And the reasons for that is because I really like the sensibility of film. And also I'm very lazy. So if I were to shoot digital, I would have to go through hundreds of pictures after a day of walking. But if I shoot film, I probably shoot a roll max a day, and that's 36 to 38 frames. So that makes it easier for me to pick after because I'm just lazy. And it also, I think it helps with, it trains you to hit the shutter when you really want to hit it instead of just hitting it and just trying to see what happens. So it makes you think a little bit more before you actually take photos. And I like that aspect of film a lot.
Yeah, it's something many photographers shoot in analog. They told me that they're able to think a bit more about what they shoot. I'm a provocative person, and many times I push the people. Said, you can think also in digital. No one is there with the gun saying to you shoot picture. I say that because I like to let throw this message that you can do it the same with every tool you have in your hand. And start to think also about that. Yeah, sometimes it's good to think in any case if you shoot in analog or in digital, but it's also sometimes really good to don't think at all when you shoot in both way. Everything depends of the moment you have in front of you, and happened sometimes to me this scenes really crazy, really good, and they shoot an entire film roll all in one scene. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
something I related also to my studies in photography, especially about reportage and documentary of the past. Photographer, reporter, they was doing like that. I mean, they was shooting an entire roll on one scene because you never know what is the one good and
Mm-hmm.
about the whole scene. You know, it's difficult to shoot just two picture, three picture, one picture to relate completely to the things is happening in front of you. This for
Oh
sure
yeah.
you think a lot about because as I said, with many people, yeah, if we were rich, we was not thinking about. We were buying a film like never in our life. We was putting an entire room of our house full of film and going out and shooting film like crazy. You know, so I
Mm-hmm.
think it's everything related to that. But I'm agree and disagree in the both way.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, what I want to ask you, it's you said that you go out and you're able to see things that other people don't see it, and do you think the people then follow you or engage you in a way from outside, from internet? Then when they watch this picture, they see it, what you see, and they don't see before, or they continue to don't see.
I think it depends on the viewer, and I don't necessarily mean like don't see, but maybe not didn't catch their eyes. Maybe it's insignificant to them, but to me it's interesting. So it's very subjective. So I'm
Yeah,
not sure how um, how to answer that because it's about the audience, and I can't know if they see more or less through me. But what's interesting is that one time one of my followers on Instagram messaged me and said he is the father of two adopted children, and they are from Taiwan, but they've never been in Taiwan. They are adopted in America. And the dad messaged me and said it was really cool to show their kids their own culture through my account. And I felt like that was pretty cool to be able to show
yeah,
two adopted kids their own culture through the internet. So they're able to kind of learn about their culture instead of just having their new American culture. And
it,
that's very nice of their dad.
it's really nice. Yeah, I mean, I love when people relate to me on Instagram and they comment in a way the what I do, what I show. I mean, I think this something make you a lot of satisfaction, even if they say it's something bad about your picture, no? But in a way, they give to you, you know, a response, and I think it's something that in a way or another we search it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
otherwise there is no reason why that you put picture on a social network. You can put in a server and watch by yourself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And
Well, to get feedbacks also helps you grow, and you
yeah,
know what works, doesn't work, or maybe sometimes people see what you don't see. And when your viewers sometimes tell you stuff, it really helps you to even look at your own work better.
yeah. Today I also will try to say to you what I feel, what I don't feel, what I see, what I like, what I don't like. Before of that, yeah, first things, I mean, I open your Instagram account and I read street photography jets. I love jets. I worked in jets for years. And I want to ask you, for you, why street photography jets? I mean, I have my answer, but I want to listen also your.
Why street photography? Um, I think one of the reason is because before I do photography as art, I did printmaking as art, which you can see behind me. And when I make prints out of bronze powder and iron powder. So they're not ink; they're metal powder. And before I finish the print, I would put acid on the metal powder, and then they will eat away at the metal, and the oxidation and the color will show up. And I bring this up because with my work, I like to let go of some control. I don't want to control everything. I want the material to do its own thing. So I provide this platform, my print, but I apply acid to the metals and they will react. But the way they react and how the color comes out is out of my control. And I quite like that aspect of giving up control when you're creating, because that's kind of how everything is to me. And because I am, I really, I really agree with a lot of the philosophy from Zen Buddhism and Taoism from China, because they believe nothing is forever. Everything is shifting from nothingness to something, or from something to nothingness. It's always a cycle. So to say something is finished for me is very hard, because you don't, what's finished, right? Like, is it finished when it's broken, or is it finished when it's forming? So we, so I like this idea of how everything is in a constant shift, and I'm just recording a snapshot of how it is at the moment. But after that, we all know it will be different. So for me, how that relates to street photography is that if you do studio photography, you got the model, you got the makeup, you got the lights, you got your background, everything's controlled.
Yeah, we can say that.
Kind of controlled, more or less controlled. But with streets, you go out there, none of the people are your models. They're just doing their own things. No, there's no makeup. People are just doing their own thing. Lights, it's natural lights or city lights. So there's that for me. That's the giving up of control, and how you have to improvise on the spot. And I really, I don't know what it's about, but there's this thing that really attracts me to street photography, is that how you have to improvise on the spot, and just you just always have to have your camera on you, because you never know when you were able to capture something beautiful, or
This is a
something
legend. This is a legend,
something
absolutely. A legend, absolutely. That if you are, you should have always your camera with you, because you really don't know what can happen in front of you. And
yeah, you have no idea.
first, I want to say that we have phones today that we can use as camera. I mean, happened many times to me that I have also the camera with me, but the time to put on the, I mean, I have a Minox. It's really difficult for me to find ISO, really high ISO roll film. So then usually I have a maximum 400 inside this Minox, and it's the most fast camera I have, because you have just to open, click, that's it. I mean, you have to focus, but you cannot see the focus. You are just related to the distance. Um, but yeah, sometimes it's much more easier to take the phone, open the camera so fast and click. You know,
Yeah.
it's really fast, and I do it with the phone. With film photography is difficult because, for example, here in Berlin, no, turned now it's almost night, and it's just 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Yeah, winter time.
most of the time I can go out only in the evening, you know, and where you go to shoot with the 400 diesel, you have to be in the really center of the city where the light of the shop are really, you know, strong, or otherwise you don't get anything.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, for me, a difficulties of film that in a way push me to don't shoot with film. I mean, in a way or another, I shoot always with film when I can, but when I cannot, it's just waste of roll, you know. And this is difficult, for example, in street photography. But what you were saying that in a way, in the studio you have the control. Depends of what kind of control you want to put. I mean, I think this is I don't want to use the word subjective, but it's in a way the way you are set in your mind. No, when I was shooting in the studio, I shooted for many years. I was always searching the improvising. I was searching always the something I didn't know before. So I was never preparing anything. Was I mean, for sure I had the background, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, you know, it's just a white paper or gray paper or black paper, what else? And I had subject I didn't know before, and the whole session was there. If I was not relating to the subject in a psychological way, if I wasn't pushing the subject to reveal some emotion or some feeling, I mean, it could be a subject then another. So only numbers. But yeah, it's what I always liked of in my photography, in my way to doing photography is you don't know what can happen in front of you in any case. If you are in the studio, if you are outside, if you are, I mean, in every case, because
Hmm.
I set myself in this way. I try to don't do it always the same things. And this in a way, it's, I mean, for me, it's my playground. I have to say my playground and create always different things. And I have to say, it's really difficult for me to doing always the same things. I mean, even
Yeah, yeah.
the podcast now,
Because
I
if you
decided I
don't,
don't want to do it 50. Sorry, babe. I don't want to do it anymore 50 minutes. I want to do it more minutes. Because why I
mm-hmm,
have to do it 15 minutes? Why I have to close myself in this range? I want to continue
hmm.
to talk about. And before, and just to say that, and then I let you continue. Before of you, I was doing another podcast with another guy, really interesting podcast that we switched in a way. We said, okay, I said to him, yeah, look, I have to do it another podcast with another guy now. I want to do it a second episode with you because
Hmm.
there's a lot to talk about. And we was talking also about Chinese culture. I said to
Hmm.
him that we talk about religion, and I said to him that I appreciated a lot years ago to read the Chuan Tzu and to relate to other vision, other culture, and so on. And yeah, it was nice now the hyper connection that was because you said to me about the Zen, and then automatically I connected to what I was saying before.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there totally understand and agree what you said because depends always what kind of artists we are, and most of artists they start, and I think they are not artists at all. They are just starting to relate to other artists or some kind of structure. In the end, they are just photocopy. They're doing photocopy because they just think as what they learn, what they learn in a structured way. And then there are
Yeah,
other artists.
sorry, sorry,
Go ahead.
I found that problem when I was going to art school because sometimes we would have art pieces, we'll have critiques, and people would always attach themselves to the papers we just read, the artists we just learned about. And I felt like that wasn't genuine. That wasn't the art the artists wanted to make. It was just the stuff they learned about. And I think that's along the things you were saying, right?
Yeah, yeah. This is what I mean. I mean, also I also come from art school, and I have to say, in the art school, I didn't learn anything. The only things I learned is to go away from the art.
Yeah, I learned how to defend my art in front of people because you always have to do critiques and you just have to grow some really thick skin and just go up and be like, yeah, this is what I think, and just hear the negatives and the positives. And but I think both the negatives and the positives help a lot. You can't just have negative or just positive, right? You'll never grow that way.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, I understand also that use how do you talk to me and what you are explaining also because you are not only you are not using only photography, you are also an artist, an experimental artist. You do it different works, sculpture, and painting. And yeah, I was watching before this project you have is a Hong, right? No, and the simplicity and the difficulties of this three piece of paper, red and I would say blue, black, and so on. I mean, remind me a lot this how to say X scan of the brain, but
Ask.
that can be everything. I mean, so it's I like a lot the perspective I have of them, and yeah, inspire me also in a photographic way. So then yeah, I understand the way you talk about photography is totally the way also to be a drawer, an artist, experimental artist, and so on, and sculpturist. Uh, it's much more related to you want the freedom to discover the things in front of you. You don't want a structure around you that in a way or another can let you be bored doing something. And yeah, for sure, photography is not under control. If you, but I think it's everything about ourselves because I know a lot of photographers. and us in the street, they make the things under control. And and this is the point. In the end, it's not the tool, it's not the topic, but it's how we or others set ourselves, I think. And it's everything about our psychology, everything about our perception, our relation with the world, with our world and the world outside. And to jump out from that topic, or we stay here for a year, talk about. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, there is a subject, is repetitive in your shot. And I want to ask you this. I mean, I prepared this question before, but I feel a bit of connection between we was saying now, because this is something we don't have under control, but we have under control in a way that we are aware of that. And I have seen that in your picture, there is a subject is repetitive, but I will like that you recognize that and you answer this question. If there is a subject is repetitive and why.
Well, I'm not sure what is repetitive. What do you
I mean,
see that's repetitive?
it's continuously there. You know,
Oh, like for
you
me?
shoot during the year, you shoot, and in the end, you relate to yourself and say, "Oh fuck, I shot 200 pictures of the same things for years. Why?"
Why? I shoot a lot of people interaction in the city. And sometimes I ask myself why I'm shooting this and what's the significance of this? Why should I be recording this? I ask myself this, but I don't know. It's not necessarily just interaction of people. It's interaction out of the ordinary. And that's something I really like to capture. Like I would be walking on the streets. Like this one time I was walking on the streets. There was this family with 2 boxes of oranges, and the box just breaks, and all the oranges just gets rolled all over the streets, and the whole family is scrambling around to pick up the oranges. And that's my moment. Boom. The whole family picking up oranges on the streets. You can't plan for that. And why did I shoot it though? I can't tell you why I shot that picture, but when I saw it, I knew I have to take a picture of that because that's an unusual scene you always see on the streets. And I was just gonna say this before this segment that you can't tell an artist's work from one picture usually. You have to see a body of work, and then that's kind of how you get a feel of what the artist or the photographer is trying to say. And I feel like right now I'm still doing the collection. I'm still collecting material. I have maybe, for example, 50 pictures of bikes, 70 pictures of cars. I'm still just compiling. And I sometimes look at them and I will pick out pictures, like put them together and think, what is in here? Is there a story? And also because when I look at these pictures, I'm kind of looking at my own psyche, so I can sort of read it and be like, why am I doing this? Well, I can sort of understand myself a little bit more. And that's also I want to say I can't answer that right now because that's still the journey I'm on right now. I'm still trying to answer why I take street photos. And that is a tough question. I have a lot of friends that shoot street. No one has ever given me an answer that's just like, oh, right, yeah, exactly. Of course, that's why. No one has ever given me an answer like that. Everyone's like, oh, I don't know. I just kind of enjoy it. Everyone's kind of like that.
It's for sure. It's something I totally understand. I mean, now I did. This is the podcast. I think 170, something like. And before doing this podcast, the way around, I was relating a lot to photographer. I mean, as a not only a photographer but also a curator. I mean, it's what I do, what I love to do. And I started in the moment I was to give to myself question like why I shoot photography, why I like to shoot these things. What does it mean? What I want to say? What I want to communicate? What to communicate to myself? What I say to others? What others think about that? Um, and many other questions, more and more than I think. Yeah, you know that Araki Nobuyoshi, photographer. If you don't know, search it. And there's a documentary of him start like that. What is photography? Is worse to doing a picture in black and white, in color, blah blah blah. And there's thousands of questions, and I feel it's really instructive to watch and to listen this kind of photographer because it's a photographer that published over 800 books and shooted
Wow.
everything. And he shooted the street photography, long story, short story, pornography, fashion photo, everything, really everything. You can find every kind of picture. He was, and they called him the monster because
The monster.
yeah, someone figured out him like the god with many hands. I don't remember the name. Kali, no.
Brahma.
Yeah, with thousands of hands, and in these thousands of hands there were thousands of cameras. So when you watch the documentary, you will have a lot of fun because he's a really extrovert, introvert person, full of experience, full of emotion. And I think he did, for example, a book is now pretty famous. His name in Sentimental Journey. It's a
Let me write
long
this down.
project.
Sentimental Journey.
Yeah, it's a long project on the start when he get married with the wife until the death of the wife, and
Oh wow.
it's a book not good made, more. It's a really a milestone in photography, I think, and show a lot of what does it mean to be a photographer and to relate to your world and the world outside. Doesn't matter the aesthetic you put in. It matters the story you are writing and the way you're communicating the story. It's if you watch that book, it's I don't have to explain the book. You have just to watch the picture and you know what it's about. You know the story is about. You feel the person, what he feel. There is in the middle of book a series of probably 20, 30 pages where there is only street. I mean, only street, I talk about skies and no one in the street. And it's in the middle of the story where he was going every day in the hospital to the wife. I mean, you can relate to
Oh.
that, and you can feel it. That person was losing the road, losing someone, was losing himself. And there is a lot of this narrative communication without text, and I don't remember now. I was talking about that, but the things is, yeah, because many people don't know or they won't lie to themselves to don't know why they enjoy or not enjoy or they shoot the same pictures. But I think it's this is the real work in photography to understand then why you do it something because otherwise you could not sell to anyone what you do. I mean, if you will go to doing an exhibition, the two are the way. Or you say a lot of bullshit, but they have to be bullshit. They have to hold. You cannot say bullshit. Then the day after, people say, "Yeah, but what the fuck he said?" Uh, or you have to know, and you have a bit to struggle with yourself and think about, okay, now I'm doing a picture from 10 years. Why I should always, in my case, for example, why I should always the dirty? Why I should always the trash in the street? And there are many reasons. I mean, first of all, I come from Naples, and Naples is one of the city most dirty in the world, where the trash was a topic for years. Because people was putting a lot of trash in the street and they was not collecting. So I have seen the trash for years. And in a way, I like the trash. You know why? Because say a lot about the society where you live in. In Berlin, it's really easy to find um, a lot of trash in the street without any sense. You know, I found a banana on the vomit. So someone threw it up inside of the train. Someone threw it up inside of the train and put the banana on. And say a
It's
lot about the society you live in, and say a lot about why I like that things, because it's true, it's real, it's not there is no construction, you know, there's not a
it's
kind of society close, you know, to showing always the perfection of what we have around, but more to say, yeah, this, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about what other think. I don't give a fuck about what is my city, you know. And if my city is dirty in a way, I feel like the city are dirty in a way or another. They are totally clean, clean from the constriction. Because in a way or another, there is no dictator. There is always a message of freedom. But in a way or another, we are dirty. Even if we are clean, we are dirty. We put out our perversion. We put out our sentences. We want to show our freedom every day. And that's why I shoot trash most of the time, because for me it's a remarkable message of freedom. And I choose to live in the cities like that. I will never live in Munich, for example. That's fucking clean. Everything is clean. You can eat on the street, on the ground.
oh,
You know?
it's that clean.
So
Wow.
for me, it's not, you know, the first things I think about cities really clean. I think about, okay, who live here? The people go out in the street. They eat, they enjoy. So I think,
Have
yeah.
you been to Japan?
No, not yet. But yeah, this is. I say to you, what happened with Berlin. I'm afraid to go in Japan.
It's super clean. Like, yeah, it's too clean.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. I
You can,
mean, it's a really country full of constriction. I mean, now I have a lot of friends from Japan. I had some ex-girlfriend from Japan, and why people go away from Japan? Most of the Japanese people, who are the
yeah, it's just,
or you are totally a fucking slave, or you cannot be a slave, because even if you want to just survive, you're a slave. You have to work almost 7 days per day per week, and without stop. And if you don't show the expedition of others, you are a fail. And I did a research. I did a research years ago in Kyoto. I mean, I didn't went in Kyoto physically, but I studied a lot, and I did this social research about why people kill themselves, suicide themselves, because of many different. I mean, also the Aikido, no, why it's constantly there. It's the Kikomori and so on. Why people are subject always pushed from the society they live in, and why they kill themselves in the forest and not in the public. And it's,
I think to them, they just want to disappear because
yeah,
to die around your family or at a place where people can find you, it's kind of a shame.
yeah,
For one, for two, they don't want to burden others. They don't want their families to come clean after them after they're dead. So maybe that's why they choose to disappear into the forest. I'm just guessing. I'm not sure. I know about that issue because there's this the forest of sea. Oh no, no, forest sea
yeah.
of trees under Fuji. Right, a lot of people go seek suicide there.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I mean, it was one of the topic of the research, and yeah, it's. I mean, something I
And
can understand if you then study even better and you relate it to the culture, you know. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, also the work culture there is very
yeah,
intense. It's a high pressure society. So,
it,
like you said,
your girlfriend is Japanese, no?
yeah, my girlfriend is half Japanese.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen from the picture.
she just came back to Taiwan this year. I mean, today
Okay,
from
okay,
Japan.
cool, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. So then after me, you will enjoy to have time with her, I think.
Yeah.
So now, because I have seen that, yeah, she also doing photography, and yeah, one of the question I wanted to ask you, the relation between love and photography.
No, my love with photography or my love with my girlfriend?
The how the love is insert inside of photography, because I have seen that she also doing pictures. So then I can imagine that you share also a lot of moment with her doing pictures.
Yeah,
Am
okay.
I wrong?
She started shooting about 3.5 years ago because she before we dated, she told me she wanted to learn photography, but she never got a chance. Blah blah blah. So we dated. I didn't shoot right away, but I've always kind of have a camera with me. But then I picked up a film camera, and I really loved it to get back on film, and my passion came back. So I went out and bought her a set of film camera, and I taught her how to use it, and now she's doing really well. I think she's learned so much in the past few years.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen the gallery of her on Instagram, and they are really cool picture. But you know, there is a relation between the question I give to you and what we are talking about now. And I think, yeah, this is, for example, what I said before. It's a subject repetitive inside of your shoots. Is for sure your girlfriend. And what I like
Mm.
a lot, what I really love of that is that she shoot you and you shoot her, and you can relate in the same moment, the same people, but from two different perspectives. And this, I think, is I mean, this is a project. I mean, I don't know if you have a truth or
Yeah, yeah,
not,
it definitely
but
is. We have a lot of portrait of each other because we always go out to shoot together a lot. Sometimes we would just take our camera and we'll go out walking for like 3, 4 hours, just take pictures. And because we're walking together, obviously sometimes I would see a really nice moment of her, so I would just take it.
I
And
mean, not only
and the
about
same
portrait, you know, it's
and the
not
same
only
with
about
her.
portrait. It's the time you spend together. So the walk you do it together, different picture, different perspective. Not only about shooting portrait of each other, you know, but the entire story, the entire time is part of your story. You know, it's a part of in a way or another project. And I mean,
Oh, do you mean sorry, I might have gotten the question wrong. Do you mean you could see our life through two perspectives, through
yeah,
her account and my account, and that's
yeah.
really interesting to you?
I think for me it's really interesting. I mean, I mean, as a curator, I will love always to catch things are not usual. It's totally fucking difficult today, but yeah, I think it's totally something make unique your both work. I mean, probably they work more like that than alone. I mean, it's the
Yeah, yeah,
similarity, you know, it's the magic is in between.
we published a calendar last year, and it was half my work, half her work. And a lot of people, when they flip through the photos, they didn't even know it was from two people. They just thought, "Oh, Johnny, this is all your photos." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. Half of it is my girlfriend's." And
Yeah,
I think that's what you're saying because our work just start to blend together, and it kind of just becomes one.
yeah. I
They
started
work.
to do
They
it.
work like that.
I was doing something like that, not with an ex-girlfriend, but with a friend. We were spending a lot of time together, going out, doing things, even shoots. They were not in the same moment we were together. And I made a book years ago of a mix of picture between mine and her, and came out a work totally unique because we were shooting probably in the same way, black and white, really cruel, really dirty, really full of grain. Uh, and
Like
I
really
made,
raw.
yes, it was really raw, and I made this book with just following a line of emotion without caring if it was my picture or her picture, without mentioning that, and was working because we were on the same vibes. And I
Mm.
think this is, yeah, I mean, as you know, I do it with this project, also collection books and so on. And this is another thing I really love to do it. I would love to do it. I mean, in a way, it's really provocative because some photographer would say, "What the fuck? There's no my name there." But I will put down a book with photography without writing the name, and then writing the name just in the credits, and keep the vibes of every picture, but from totally 30, 40, 50 different photography in one book. I just made one story. But yeah, it's what jumped to my vision to watch your picture, and I asked you about the repetitive subject because your girlfriend is often there. I mean,
Hmm.
it's always part of the scene or part of the world you see. But then, if I want to relate for the rest of your photography, I like a lot what you said. Also, that you like the action the people have inside of the shoot you do it. And I want to ask you if you think, in a way or another, photography for you is a kind of the theater. You know, the theater of the Greek theory of the theater. Theater is action, time, and space, and everything is related to these three things, and these three concept. They could not be repetitive anymore. So I mean, one time it's there, and you cannot see anymore. In the same way.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it. I think it's a theater of life, the theater of the city, which city you're in, and you're just recording life as it is. They're not actors; they're living their life, and I think that's worth recording on its own.
And last couple of questions I want to ask you. First, an experience really negative you had as a photographer. There is
What's that? Sorry,
an experience you had really negative, really
really
cruel.
negative.
Yeah, you had one.
You uh about art or just life in general?
Life in general.
Oh, of course. Like passing of my pets, passing of a family member. Just I broke my wrist last year, stuff like that. But what are you trying to ask? Are you trying to ask what do I
I'm
feel
asking
about
then
bad things?
if there is a relation then with photography with your
Oh,
negative
with
moment.
tragic things.
Yeah,
Mm, kind of, but not in a direct way. I think. For me to go out and walk and be able to shoot photos is kind of a therapy for me because I don't have to overthink too much. I'm not sitting there just worrying about problems. I'm actually out there looking at different things. My attention is always on, what to see and things that are happening or anticipating things that might happen. So that in itself is therapy for me because I get to not think about things I'm not supposed to. So I guess it relates to it that way, not directly, but indirectly, kind of.
okay. Okay, yeah, I mean, it's, as many photographers also, yeah, for them is, I mean, also for me, it's therapy in some ways. I will never say that photography is for me, it's only therapy because it's not true, because I uh, struggle a lot with photography. I mean, if
Yeah,
I
it's
go,
definitely not. It definitely is not all therapy. I'm just saying, if I were to relate the bad things that's happened into photography, I don't put that emotion into my photography. But if I were to connect it to it, maybe it's a way for me to work out my problems by
yeah,
walking
yeah,
outside and
it's
just
probably
producing work.
is a, I would say, an indirectly way to work on yourself because you relate to the world outside, you put off the bad energy in a way, and you focus on something else that probably then will produce a totally another effect inside of your life. This is probably sure happen to many people. I mean, in my experience, happen a lot that you focus on something else, and then you will have a better logic for your mind to give answer to what was happening before in your problems. And I asked you this because I want to ask you that if you think there is something you would like to work in photography as more personal project and show off, than say, okay, now I did several years of photography and I will, I don't know, keep on my archive or I continue to shoot on outside and I will focus more on this kind of topic. and to, I don't know, make an exhibition, make a book, make a story, make a video, or what else. There is some truth.
You mean like my views on photography?
Yeah, I mean, if you was ever think about, if you ever think about to compose a project with what you do it, I mean, and not only going out and shooting.
Oh
Well,
yeah, of course. I'm actually currently thinking of a project that's not street photography based, more idea based, like say like theme based, and I would go out maybe to look for those things instead of just walking and wandering around the city. I'm actually trying to make a project about that right now.
okay, cool. I try to stay up to date and to know more about that because curious about that. I mean, more my topic. Especially books and project are my topics.
Hmm.
I want to ask you, there are some other people that you should read. I mean, there is your girlfriend. This is the fact we know now.
Hmm.
But there are also other people you share picture with, and you will like to listen. For example, what I can catch from them in a podcast of one of these people you should read, or you go out sometimes, or you know. And yeah, if there are, which are these people? Which is the name of them?
Oh, okay. I have a few friends that I'm really close with that are photographers too. I have a friend in California. He's called Brian. He is a documentary filmmaker, but he also does film photography. And I would say he does a lot of landscape and a lot of street and documentary photography. Like when the riots happened in California last year, he went out and shot a lot of rolls of black and white. And he's right now trying to compile a book about the riots that happened in California. And another person that I want to recommend is called Boris. He is from Toronto, and I would say he does street photography like me, I think. Yeah, more or less. But he is also a videographer.
Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah, I will.
I can give you the links of these two guys.
Yeah, sure, sure. Then I can invite them to have this
Yeah, for sure. They speak English.
discussion. Yeah, and yeah. So I want to thank you a lot for your time. Yeah, it was nice for me to meet you and to jump also on some topic and talk about some experience, some concept. It's always, I think, really nice to have this kind of conversation and going deep in some things that usually we don't do it. No, not not it's something of every day. I mean, now for me, yes, because I have everyday podcast, but uh
Yeah.
it's, if I was not doing that, I was not really saying, okay, I go out in the street, I stop someone, and then I talk about that.
Oh yeah. People will be like, this guy is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes it can work, but yeah, some other times people will think, yeah, man, fuck yourself, go away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to say that, yeah, as I always say, the link are in the description. I would advise to get a look at the website of your website. I mean, on Cargo Collective, there are some really nice draw, not only nice but also conceptually interesting work you did. That we didn't talk a lot about, but one of them is called Mother, and it's so
Mhm.
fucking strong project. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, the moldy bread.
yeah, I need an hour just to talk about that, but
Oh yeah, that is another whole other subject.
there is another podcast there. So I advise a lot to check this link and the Instagram also, because there are a lot of nice shoot aesthetically and not aesthetically. Some are nice scene that I think are not usual. I the only advice I will give to you in this case is get a bit more closer.
Mhm.
Don't stay too much away from the subject. Get a bit more closer. Try to. I mean, there are some shoots are repetitive, and some scenes they're repetitive, and I see that you like a lot to I mean, you are a bit a voyeur of the city, and you watch this action, you watch these people, but try to let these people be a bit more part of your world. What I want to say with that, if you go a bit more closer, probably you will have also, I mean, you have a treasure and you don't know. And the treasure is that you shoot people in the city, in your city, and you can relate in the communication, the language with them. Now, after 7 years in Berlin, my German is not amazing. I cannot really relate. I mean, I can say to the people, can I shoot a picture and so on, but then if they want to talk to me, I'm there, I'm saying yes, but I don't understand what they say to me.
Oh,
And
I thought a lot of people in Berlin speak English.
yeah, they speak English, but yeah, if the best subject are always the one they speak the local language. Our
Yeah, obviously.
people, no? And it's not about, I mean, in general, even if I don't ask to them, because yeah, I like also the spontaneity of the moment. But in a way or another, getting more closer relate also that make them aware that I am alive.
Yeah, I think I find that problem with myself too, because I feel like I'm too introverted and I'm a little bit shy. So I like to observe from a distance, and I don't think that's a good thing. I have to work on
It's not
getting
that it's,
closer and maybe interact with my subjects sometimes,
I don't
because
think
I always just stay away and just shoot, and that works sometimes, but I do find that sometimes I'm a little bit too far and
I mean,
I'm
I don't
not
think
able
it's
to get the
bad.
action.
I don't think it's bad because this is a clear message that you give to yourself. Because I watch at your picture and I see that you are curious about these people and you want to relate with. The only step now you have to do it. I mean, the first step you did it. It's clearly saying to yourself unconsciously that you want to relate to these people because you shoot repetitively them. Now another step is to going more close, because now that you are aware of that, that you know also that you have to be a bit more closer to them to probably find much more. And in this case, language is really helpful because can happen then, I don't know, for example, you are in a food market, you go a bit more closer and these people interact to you and they don't have a problem to let you shoot a role, okay? And so you are there spending maybe 1 hour having a nice conversation with, I don't know, an old woman or old man, taking picture of what happened around of the client buying the food. Something can happen, okay? Someone is a usual client or is a friend is going there relating to this person. It's a fucking story. You are there. You are inside. You are part of the story. You have
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, I should definitely do more of that. Talk to the people, because right now when I talk to people on the streets is usually when they approach me. Maybe sometimes they come ask, "Hey, what are you taking a picture of, and why are you doing this?" And then we will have a talk on the streets. But I don't really approach people on my own, and I think that's definitely something I need to work on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your profile and see that. So thank you again for your time. I hope that we can
Yeah,
have another episode in
likewise.
the future. And yeah, let's keep in touch.
Yeah, let's keep in touch, man. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, and if you want to learn more about us, you can visit the link allmylinks.com, Berlin Explorer, or our website bexproject.com. And if you want to follow us, you can always get news from Instagram on our account BX Project. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode.